She thought the job was a joke, until her laughter unlocked a painful secret. Hey guys, today we bring you another intriguing movie that will keep you at the edge of your seat. So sit tight as we dive into this fascinating story, and please don't forget to subscribe for more amazing and popular movies from us. The movie begins with Sarah, a comedian in her community. She cracks jokes to entertain her audience, and they are clearly enjoying every moment. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a young and handsome man named Desmond was on a call with a client when he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his chest. As he tried to stand up, he collapsed immediately. His maid found him unconscious and quickly called for help. Later that same day at the hospital, the doctor informed Desmond that his heart was struggling. Desmond explained that he takes his medication regularly. The doctor told him that not everything can be cured with medicine alone and advised him to laugh more to help his heart. Desmond replied that he couldn't just laugh like a mad person because life wasn't funny. However, the doctor insisted that laughter was the best remedy for his chest pain. The next day at the office, Desmond told his colleague, Mark, what the doctor advised him to do. Mark was shocked and encouraged Desmond to give it a try. He also suggested going to comedy shows or hangouts to help him feel better, but Desmond objected because he wasn't interested. Later that same day, Sarah's boyfriend, Dominic, stopped her and demanded the money she made that day. She refused at first, but after much persuasion, she almost gave him part of the money. Instead, Dominic forcefully collected everything from her. He also told her to prepare food for him without giving her money for cooking, then left. That night, Dominic returned home and asked Sarah for food. She told him she didn't cook because he took all her money. An argument broke out, and Dominic beat her. The next morning, Sarah's friend, Annie, was unhappy that Sarah was tolerating Dominic's behavior, especially the beating. Sarah told Annie that Dominic wasn't like this before, and that his behavior changed after he lost his job. Annie couldn't believe what Sarah was saying. Some days later, Desmond's car broke down along the road in a rural area. He called his mechanic to inform him, then decided to take a walk. During the walk, he saw Sarah cracking jokes for people, and they were laughing their hearts out. After the show, Desmond approached Sarah and told her he had a job for her. He handed her his card and walked away. Later that same day, Sarah went to give Annie part of the money she earned from comedy, so Dominic wouldn't collect it from her. Annie asked if Sarah wouldn't disturb her later for the money. Sarah replied that she would only collect it when she truly needed it. That same day, Sarah returned home and saw Dominic sitting outside. She pretended not to see him, but he stopped her and asked for money. Sarah got fed up and told him that he was a man and should be the one providing for her, not the other way around. Dominic ignored her words. Sarah told him she had no money and gave him the little cash she had. Instead of appreciating it, Dominic complained that the money was too small. Sarah walked away. Later that night, Desmond and Mark were eating together. Desmond kept staring at his phone. Mark noticed and asked why. Desmond told him he was expecting a business call. Mark asked what kind of business, but Desmond said he would explain when the deal worked out. The next morning, Dominic rushed into the room and began searching through Sarah's bag for money. She tried to stop him, but during the struggle, her phone fell and broke. Dominic took the money and left, leaving Sarah worried and distressed. Later that same day, Sarah went to Annie to collect some of the money she kept so she could repair her phone. Annie didn't ask why she needed the money, which surprised Sarah. When Sarah asked, Annie explained that she already knew Sarah would come for it, and said she felt bad because Sarah refused to leave her toxic relationship. Sarah later met Dominic and told him she couldn't continue the relationship if he kept taking money from her without making any effort to find a job. Dominic laughed and asked if she was threatening him. Sarah said nothing and walked away. That same day, after repairing her phone, Sarah called Desmond about the job offer. Desmond answered, but angrily shouted at her for calling late at night and hung up. Sarah was left shocked by his reaction. The next morning, Annie visited Sarah, and Sarah told her about Desmond and how he reacted. Annie advised her to go to Desmond's office to discuss the job properly. Sarah said she was scared and didn't want to go, but Annie reminded her that Dominic had done worse to her and she was still alive. She encouraged Sarah to give it a try, and Sarah finally agreed. The next day, Sarah went to meet Desmond at his office. She admired the beauty of the place before Desmond asked her if she was serious about life, reminding her that he had given her his card days earlier and she didn't call him. Sarah tried to explain what happened to her phone, but she stopped when she noticed Desmond wasn't interested in her story. She went straight to the point. Desmond told Sarah that he wanted her to make him laugh, and if she succeeded within 1 week, he would pay her 2 million naira. Sarah burst into laughter, thinking Desmond was joking. She told him that the highest amount she had ever made from comedy was 20,000 naira, and she felt Desmond wanted to use her destiny. Desmond then told her that if she accepted the job, she would have to stay with him. Realizing he was serious, Sarah said she needed time to think about it and would get back to him. Later that same day, Sarah told Annie about the job Desmond was offering her, 2 million naira, but she would have to stay with him for 1 week. She said she was scared because Dominic would not allow her to live with another man. Annie couldn't believe what she was hearing and started scolding Sarah for choosing Dominic over a 2 million naira opportunity. Sarah replied that she had to inform Dominic first. Annie then warned her that once she accepted the job, she should never return to Dominic's house and should move on with her life. Later that night, Sarah tried to wake Dominic so they could talk, but he ignored her because he was asleep. When Sarah mentioned the job she had just gotten and the amount she would be paid, sleep immediately left his eyes. Dominic quickly told her to take the job and said he didn't care if she stayed with Desmond for even 1 month. He then instructed her to call Desmond and request advance payment. Sarah called Desmond and informed him that she had accepted the job and asked for an upfront payment. Desmond agreed, but warned her that if he didn't laugh within the agreed 1 week, she would refund the money. He then sent her 500,000 naira. Dominic instructed Sarah to transfer all the money to him, and she did. The next morning, Sarah arrived at Desmond's house and began greeting the gateman when Desmond came out angrily. He complained that she was late and insulted her after she accidentally hit his car. They both left together for work. On the way, Desmond asked Sarah if she was truly ready for the job. She replied that she was ready because of the amount he was willing to pay. Desmond then told her to hit him with her jokes. Sarah misunderstood and slapped him. Desmond got angry and explained that he meant she should crack jokes to make him laugh. Sarah started telling jokes, but Desmond didn't find them funny and became irritated instead. The next day, Sarah tried cracking jokes in a rap style. Desmond still didn't laugh, only Mark found it funny. Desmond angrily told her to stop, saying nothing she did was funny. Instead of stopping, Sarah continued, and Desmond asked her to leave. Mark told Desmond that he never knew he would employ a comedian to make him laugh. He also said Sarah was funny and didn't understand why Desmond wasn't laughing. Mark explained that laughter comes from the heart and is an emotion that must be expressed. Desmond felt frustrated and believed he had wasted his money. Later that same day, Sarah told jokes to Mark, and he laughed uncontrollably. Desmond came out and watched with disgust, complaining that Sarah wasn't funny to him. Sarah told Desmond that if she couldn't make him laugh, then his problem might be deeper than her jokes, possibly spiritual, and she walked away. Meanwhile, Dominic went to meet Annie and complained that he had been trying to reach Sarah without success. He also said the money Sarah gave him had finished and he needed more. Annie was shocked and angrily insulted Dominic, who walked away in shame. The next day, Sarah was chatting with the gateman and the maid, making them laugh. Desmond came out angrily and scolded them, telling Sarah she was making everyone laugh except him. He sent the staff back to their duty posts. The following day, Annie visited Sarah and admired the environment where she worked. Sarah told Annie that Desmond was always moody and angry, despite all her efforts to make him smile or laugh. Annie advised her not to give up because she couldn't afford to lose such money. Annie also informed Sarah that Dominic was threatening to come to her workplace to cause trouble because the money had finished. Sarah hoped Dominic wouldn't show up, as she didn't want to lose her job. Later that same day, Desmond complained bitterly that Sarah had failed to make him laugh and demanded a refund of the money he sent. Sarah told him it wasn't her fault and that she had tried everything. She said she believed his problem was spiritual. Desmond challenged her to crack one last joke. She did, but he still didn't laugh. While they were talking, Sarah's phone kept ringing. She ignored the calls and walked away. Outside, Sarah saw Dominic and immediately ran back inside, screaming in fear. Desmond and Mark asked what was going on, but Sarah couldn't explain properly. She then gathered courage and decided to face Dominic. Outside, Sarah begged Dominic to leave so she wouldn't lose her job. Dominic refused and demanded the remaining money. Sarah explained that she hadn't been paid yet, but Dominic kept shouting. Sarah finally snapped and pushed Dominic down when she realized he wasn't as powerful as she once thought. She pounced on him and started beating him. Desmond and Mark rushed outside and witnessed everything. Suddenly, Desmond began laughing uncontrollably. Sarah was shocked. As his laughter continued, Desmond broke down in tears and went back inside the house. Sarah went inside to ask Mark what was wrong with Desmond because she could hear him crying in his room. Mark told her to give him some time and assured her that Desmond would talk to her later. Sarah became scared because she thought she might lose her job, but Mark told her not to worry. Meanwhile, Desmond was inside his room crying. But wait, what could be his problem? Later that same day, Sarah brought food to Desmond. He thanked her and remained quiet. Feeling restless, Sarah told him that she knew he paid her to make him laugh, and now that he finally laughed and then started crying, she was scared and worried about whether it would affect her remaining payment. Desmond told her not to worry and said they would talk later. Sarah then left. Later that night, Desmond was surprised to see Sarah still awake. She told him she couldn't sleep because she was worried about her fate and wanted answers. Desmond then opened up and told her how he lost his pregnant wife and his mother in a fire incident. He explained that he was on a call with his wife while she was in the kitchen receiving the call, and that distraction caused the fire. Since then, he had never been the same. Sarah felt deep pity for him, as she had always wondered what made him so emotionless. They talked for a long time. Later, Desmond asked Sarah why she was still in a toxic relationship with Dominic. Sarah explained that her relationship with Dominic was a mistake she found hard to leave because of the environment she grew up in, where such behavior was considered normal. She said she was used to it. She also admitted that she never believed she could stand up to Dominic until the day she fought back, which still surprised her. Desmond told her she deserved better and advised her to leave Dominic once her contract with him ended. The next day, Desmond began reflecting on past memories while Sarah was cracking jokes, and suddenly, he couldn't stop laughing. That same day, Dominic went to Annie and complained that Sarah beat him. Annie laughed at him, saying he deserved it, and insulted him before walking away. Later that day, Sarah was on a call with Annie, who told her how Dominic came to complain and how she insulted him. The next day, Desmond invited Sarah to join him for lunch. She was surprised but accepted. While eating, Sarah said something funny, and Desmond laughed. Some days later, Desmond visited the doctor and told him that he hadn't experienced chest pains lately and that the prescription seemed to be working. The doctor confirmed that his heart was functioning better than before and advised him to continue what he was doing. Back at the office, Desmond discussed with Mark and told him that for the first time in a long while, he felt happy and better, all thanks to Sarah. Later that same day, Sarah brought lunch to Desmond and told him that, judging by the situation, her job with him had ended. Desmond agreed and paid her the remaining balance. However, Sarah looked sad. Desmond asked her about her plans, and she told him she wanted to return to school to improve herself and become better. The next day, Sarah was ready to leave, and Desmond offered to take her home. She accepted. When they got to her house, Sarah thanked him and went inside. Immediately, Dominic confronted her and demanded money. Sarah refused. Dominic picked up a knife, stabbed her, and ran away with her bag. Later at home, Desmond became bored and called Mark, suggesting they hang out. Annie arrived at Sarah's place and found her unconscious. Mark later came to meet Desmond for the outing, and Desmond suggested they invite Sarah along. Mark agreed. Desmond called Sarah, but Annie answered and informed him that Sarah had been stabbed by Dominic. Desmond and Mark rushed out immediately. Later that same day at the hospital, the doctor told them Sarah had lost a lot of blood and that her blood type was rare. Desmond told the doctor that he would donate his blood because his blood group was universal, and he followed the doctor. Sometime later, everyone gathered in Sarah's hospital room. Annie asked Desmond to go home, but he refused, saying he wanted to stay by Sarah's side. The next day, Sarah woke up to see Desmond beside her. He was happy to see her awake and told her she would be staying at his place for the meantime. Some days later, Desmond and Mark brought Sarah home. Mark received a call and later informed Desmond that Dominic had been arrested by the police. Desmond felt relieved. Sarah said she felt bad for Dominic, but Desmond encouraged her not to think about him anymore. Later that same day, Annie visited Sarah and couldn't stop admiring the apartment. She asked how Sarah was feeling and jokingly said it seemed Desmond liked her, which was why he was doing so much for her. Sarah told her not to think that way. Meanwhile, Desmond and Mark were talking when Mark suggested that Desmond should date Sarah because she was his perfect match. Desmond said nothing. The next day, Desmond fed Sarah and gave her medication. Sarah thanked him for taking care of her. Desmond then told her he wanted to sponsor her education and send her back to school. Sarah was shocked and happy at the same time, and she thanked him. The next day, Sarah told Annie about Desmond's offer to sponsor her education. She admitted she was skeptical because Dominic was once kind to her before becoming a burden in her life, and she feared the same thing might happen with Desmond. Annie assured her that it wouldn't. The next day, Desmond and Sarah spent time together, eating and chatting at the dining table. The moral lesson of this movie is that laughter can heal deep emotional wounds, self-worth matters, and no one deserves to remain in an abusive relationship. True healing begins when we face our pain, choose courage over fear, and allow ourselves to accept genuine love and support. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like, share your thoughts, and subscribe for more captivating movies from us. Till we meet again, bye!